Hi everyone, welcome. This was to be an unboxing and I got partway through the video and I just had to stop because it's following a bit of a different system in that even in the court cards I was noticing they seem to be out of sequence, but it goes page, let me go back to the thing here and see it, page, queen, king, and knight through each of the suits. And that really threw me off. It is a deck that she says it follows the four traditional suits, but they're represented by air, water, fire, and earth. So it's not the Rider-Waite images that we're used to. And it does bring in Marseille Tarot as well. So you can read it either way. But it did throw me off a little bit because I was expecting things to be in sequence. And it just is not. The imagery is very illustrated and easy to interpret. And looking at a few of the cards here, I find that they're not that easy to interpret without the little book. So when I go through it this time, I'm going to follow along so I can give you a bit more direct information, because it says here the knight follows the king as presented in Alejandro's book, The Way of Tarot, suggesting that the knight is a messenger of the king and therefore moves towards the next suit of cards. Okay, I can accept that and follow that, but it really threw me for a bit of a loop there. I find so far that the cards are good quality. I would have liked to seen some of the gold on the back, but it is still pretty gorgeous. I don't mind the banners down here or these borders. I think that's quite nice. And I'm very open to having different imagery than the Rider-Waite Smith. And this is a sorceress deck, so it's a little bit witchier, a little bit more magical, and a lot of symbology. So let's put this down, and I'll be very careful this time in going through. And I'll just read a little bit here. It's based on the Wheel of the Year. Her inspiration is from seasonal pagan spirituality, and it does revolve around the seasons and the festivals and the Sabbats. So when we look through this deck, we're going to learn about that, which is great for me because I am trying to learn about all the festivals. And it does bring in the elements, the time of day, there's lunar phases. There's a lot going on in this deck. So for the simple unboxing, I think you need a little bit more to do it justice. It does have some numerology at the front here that it's talking about. And it says it was designed so that anyone can connect with it and use it in their own personal way. So although there is a format that's different, and you can see here, pages are hesitation, queens are grounding in the element, king is confidence and completion, and knight is that messenger moving on to what's coming next. So I'm going to be looking very carefully at this. It does take in reversals, and we'll just take a wee gander by zooming in and seeing what this beautiful deck is about. Okay, so there we have the Fool with a little bit of bronze on the broom. And it is so exciting to see that it's not on a cliff, but she's adventuring out into the universe. That is spectacular. That takes you right into the uniqueness of this deck right off the bat. So some of the keywords for that are travel, evolution, exploration, and journeying. there is quite a lot of line work. So some of the images can appear, for me, a little bit busy, but key elements are there, and I really appreciate that they raised this on the table. I love seeing all of this. This is wonderful. The cauldron, the mortar and pestle. Beautiful. So our High Priestess for study, secrets, observations. To me, that is the book with all the magical information in it. Okay, now this one was a little bit difficult for me because I was still looking for the Empress figure, but there she is there, and it is the maypole, and everybody is caught up in the festivities. And it looks like even a little nature spirit down here. And this one, some of the key words are developing ideas, conception, and this one represents Beltane. Very powerful emperor. And a key word that is really suiting this one is confidence and wisdom. And this one is for Litha. When I watched some reviews, they really liked the masculine content, the sacred masculine here for the Hierophant. And the tattoo-like images. For me, this person is deep within his spiritual practice. The Lover's card. Now, some of the crystals that they've used, because they're black and white, you really will need the book, or I will, most definitely, to know what the crystals are that they're illustrating here. The Chariot. And it talks about the dashing forward here, the powerful energy that possesses a person and moves them forward. And this is for summer. Another really powerful card, the Sacred Feminine. The Hermit. And it brings in, it says the solitude, the ripening, and the remedy. It's like a little pinch of this and a little pinch of that, and making it here in the bowl and making it all sing and work through knowledge, through years of practice. A very solitary, magical event. The Wheel of Fortune. There is the Strength card. And that makes a very pretty spread in the book, having these two, the Wheel and then the Strength card next to it. So the book is quite beautiful. And this one is standing for Mabon. Connection and destiny. And there's a nice sentence here where it says, it is your inner force that which positions you in your self-esteem and self-confidence and enables you to tame the world around you. the Hanged Man, and that is bringing in autumn. The Unnamed card, 13. Love, love, love the Temperance card. There's a couple in here because I did skim ahead, and the peacefulness around some of these angelic type figures. And it will be fun to look at all the symbology of the holly down here, some of the other elements. A lot of people really liked the floating candles. The Devil. Now this one is, as you can see, going to be working with us with the chakras, our pleasure, our enchantment, our vitality, that sexuality and deep desires, our shadow work. And the little book indicates it mentions the devil is the fire burning inside you that motivates you to intrinsically and therefore personally enabling you to start moving so you can attain your goals. Great different perspective on the devil. Our Tower. And again, we've got little snowdrops in there, a tree in the center of the tower. And that one is going to bring us into winter. Is this not phenomenal? Wow. They still have the little bird on the tree there for wisdom, the pool of water around her feet. And this is feminine power. Imbolc. I'm so glad that I paused the video partway through and started again, because this deck deserves it. Now here we have Ostara. Gestation, imagination, darkness, and if you look really carefully, there's a figure here that's in between being here, like our conscious and our subconscious, that liminal space that so many talk about. That is the Sun card. So this is the God. As long as the Sun God is here, you feel protected and warmed. Judgment. And this is the ether, the energy of the ether, freedom and regeneration. But I do say that it is very difficult to see these little numbers down here because the cross for the X is so thin it just disappears. Another really pretty card, the World. So this is the Goddess card. Victory, completion, the end of a cycle, perfection, and self-realization. Now to me, this image here is almost a cat. All right, so now we're into the suit of air. So we're going to see a lot of the symbol for air running through these cards. And I really appreciate the vapor, and they put a lot of detail into that coming from this sensor here. Beautiful. So there we have the two, but they refer to it as dawn. on the threshold. And here we have 3. There seems to be a little bit of a doorway there, a possibility. And it mentions first thoughts on the world, first attempts, adolescent attempts to express ideas. So a little bit of Marseille, a little bit of elements and symbology make this so unique. This is the blue moon, the 4 of air. And when I saw this card the first time, it really brought in that depth that some of us go to when we're researching. You can see the candles, the piled up books, the wax flowing. It is very symbolic of someone who has spent an awful lot of time researching. So this is 6. And the 6 of air, it talks about leaving a difficult situation but making progress. And that this is an amethyst to promote clarity, thought, and balance. There's our 7. And it mentions the word concealment here. That it's easy to conceal yourself and try to pass for what you are not. There is our 8 with some stalks of lavender. This one was quite interesting. Simple, but when I looked at the definition, it talked about worry and despair. So I guess each of these little musical elements coming from the flute could be releasing of some of the negativity and that feeling of being stuck. Our 10 of air. And this one is referring to Venus. And here we get into the court cards that really threw me because they weren't in the right order to me. But they have a reason, and I can understand that. So there is our page, our curious intellectual page. Our queen. It's nice that she has 2 owls. And this was so interesting to me. So you get the upright and the reversal all in one. Because if it is reversed, it talks about cutting, evil tongue, that wish to hurt others. And then upright, it's the wisdom of the king, insightful mind. Okay, so there we have it where it goes king, knight. And following the stars. All right, ace of water. New love, new momentum, emotions, the purest aspect of it all. The 2, and this is referring to twilight. Our 3, another card of celebration. The 4. Now that to me seemed a little bit meditative. It's the last quarter of the moon. the 5 of water. Now this one talked about the images trying to bring that feeling of mourning or loss or regret. The fireplace has been closed off and no fire will ever burn in it again. The candle flames are flickering, sometimes invisible, in the wax hollows that might smother them in the end. A lot of depth to this deck. R6. Now it talks about raw aquamarines, different crystals to balance. 7. Eight. The lotus. Emotional completement. Transformation and harmony. Okay, the 9 of water is the cauldron. Yeah. The 10 of water. Mercury. Okay, into the quartz. We have the page of water. The queen. She is our swan. Our king. Very interesting looking character. And our knight. Romanticism and movement. Okay, so now we are in to the element of fire. The 2 of fire. Noon, the hottest time it used to be of the day. The 3. And because of all the eyes in that, it's indicating that this card is about sight. 4 of fire. And this is the last crescent moon. The 5. This to me looks like a witch's table in the midst of a ritual, but it talks about rivalry, conflict, confrontations. The true 5. Okay, 6 of fire. Pyrite. 7. It did look like hot peppers. It's mint and pepper. 8 of fire. Hibiscus and eucalyptus. 9. The magic wand. 10. Now this talks about Mars, the energy of Mars, responsibilities. The page of fire, mandrake incense. The queen of fire, the serpent. Our king, the element of coal, and the knight. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius constellations. Boy, it seems like a big deck when you've gone through it 1.5 times. Okay, we're into Earth. And I'm glad I waited for this. I think it was meant to come to me. So this Earth is about plants. There'll be keywords in here and lots of plant information. The 2 is about night, balancing our resources. Look at the bat there. Really zoning in and sensing things, having our radar out there. This is touch, and you can see that reaching out. Neat to see how the skeletal hand forms differently. Now this one talks about in reverse. Just caught a glimpse of it there, that you might be fixing the mistakes of others. How cool. 4 of earth. The waxing gibbous moon. The 5 is called the golden candle. The 6, malachite. 7 of earth, sage. The 8. Now that one talks about honeysuckle. 9, the pentacle, your security and your abundance. The 10 of earth. Now that one looks interesting with some of the Egyptian things going on. Transmissions, possessions. The element of earth's completion. The whole of earth, both Gaia and Isis, ready for harvest. Okay, we're getting down there. The page of earth, very nice card. And that talks about the incense, the aroma of jasmine. We have the Queen of Earth and her deer, it says. The King of Earth, which is the oak. Strength and power. And our final card, the Knight of Earth. And that talks about Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn constellations. There is so much to learn from this deck. I am so pleased. And I don't remember if it was $25 or $30, but my goodness me, that could keep a person learning for quite some time. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'll zoom back out. That is a delightful deck, Tarot of the Sorceress. You can just feel the power running through it, and it seems to be just charging me up, and it's invigorating. It really is a fabulous deck. So, even though I could not pronounce the name at the bottom, why butcher it and kill it? It's such a beautiful thing. We'll leave that for someone who can really say it. And when I hear the name, I'll put it into my mind. But for now, this is Lori down in the Witch's Den, wishing everybody a great day. And if you're like me, you can sort of sense fall in the air, and the darker decks are coming. So enjoy them.